Hi everybody, it's Jordan here. I wanted to preface this video with a little bit of a context explanation. I made a lot of videos in May and then kind of took June and July off and didn't post anything. I did film things, but I couldn't really bring myself to post them, and I realized that that was because of the subject matter of this video, which is body confidence, and I have not really been liking how I've looked on camera and how I've looked in general, and that has prevented me from posting things on the internet. But in order to start off August on a different note and to hopefully grow and learn from this together as a community, I am posting this video, which I filmed back in June. I kind of gave you an insight of where I was then and where I'm at now, and that's the context of why this is getting posted. But yeah, I hope that we can just have a conversation about it and that will propel me to post more videos starting soon. So that's what this is. Hope you enjoy it. I love you very much. Here you go.
I apologize in advance if there's a little bit of a noise issue in this video. The fan under the fridge is having some struggles and it kind of sounds like a jackhammer, and it's fine. You'll get over it. So I went on a little bit of a rant about body confidence on Twitter recently, and I thought that it deserved a little bit more of a face-to-face conversation instead of just a lot of angry tweets. And I also wanted to make sure that this discussion got to my Couture channel, because I think that conversations related to sort of external beauty are good to have in the beauty community. So I'm posting this on both my personal Jordan Emma's channel and with Couture just to spread the wealth of this chat. We're just gonna sit down and have a little talk. And this all started because I've gained a little weight, and that's fine. And overall, my body confidence related to my weight gain is really okay. Like, looking at myself naked, I would not have noticed that I gained weight. Like, I look basically the same. And I've just kind of noticed recently that some of my clothes are quite fitting, and you know, it's not the biggest deal in the world. We're heading into summer where I can wear dresses all the time, and so that kind of solves all of the, you know, clothes issues as well. So my weight gain has not really been an issue, and my confidence related to it has not really been an issue. I still think I look good, and I still I'm fine. 98% of the time, I am fine about it. And there are a couple contributing factors to my weight gain. For one, this past year of school, being my senior year, has been super stressful, and I'm someone who always gains weight when I'm stressed. There's also a thing that women around the age of 25 can tend to go through that's like a second puberty, where you just mysteriously put on pounds for no reason, which would make a lot of sense since my diet habits and my exercise habits have not changed at all. So, you know, magic weight due to that. There's also a thing that's an actual thing called the Trump 10, and apparently I'm not the only one that can kind of trace weight gain back to November. Yeah, and who knows why there would be, you know, stress related to that. But as I said, weight fluctuations are a part of life, and they really aren't the biggest deal in the world. That is until this past week, when I realized that I was gonna need to go to an event that required a one-piece swimsuit. And I had a giant existential crisis over it. Now, for those of you who didn't really grow up in Christian culture, the reasoning as to why I would need a one-piece swimsuit might be strange, but it has been a thing since forever that at Christian events, you are, as a female, required to wear a one-piece. Now, this has been something I have dealt with my whole life. It's been kind of problematic my whole life because I am not built for one-piece swimsuits. I have a very long torso, so when I was young and I was very skinny, I needed super small sizes, but they think that if you're super small, you're also super short, and I was not, so I would always be having to get Speedos, which are designed for, you know, swimmers who have longer torsos as well, and my poor mother was having to shell out 80 bucks for swimsuits for her 12-year-old daughter, which is not something you want to do for someone who's still growing. But that was me growing up. You just had to do it because when you're promoting modesty, you think that women need to be covered. And okay. And as I've gotten older and I've continued to go to these events, the swimsuit thing has been a little bit trickier because as I have gained weight, I've gotten boobs, and one-piece swimsuits generally are not designed to cover them. So if I need one that isn't like a plunging v-neck or like super low or constructed in a way that just isn't designed for full support, is also a problem. But of course it's not just the chest that's the problem, because I also have a butt, and swimsuits are designed usually in, you know, a small, medium, large scenario, and I am generally a medium on the top and a large on the bottom because, shocker, like 90% of the women in the world, I'm not the same size on both halves of my body. And the moral of this story is that nothing makes you feel quite as bad about yourself as trying to squeeze your entire body into a spandex casing. Now I currently own 4 swimsuits, one of which is a bikini and one of which is a tankini, which I kind of mix and match. And those I feel great in. The bottoms cover my butt the perfect amount and they don't squeeze me, they make me feel good. The tops have plenty of coverage up top, but they just fit me great and I feel so good in them. I also already own 2 one-pieces, one of which I got at Anthropologie and fits okay. The bottom half is fine, but the top half has always been a little bit big and there isn't too much room for adjustment on that end, so I've never been totally 100% about it. And the second one is from Target, which I bought last year for, shocking, the same event that I have to go to this year. And last year it fit me great. It makes me feel so confident. It's black and white, cute stripes, really fun. And I felt great about it last year. But this year, it doesn't fit me. It's just way too tight in all of the wrong places. So here I am a year later in a position where I again have to buy a swimsuit for one event. And if this were any other church event, quite honestly, I would totally just buck the patriarchy and wear my tankini because it gives me the exact same amount of coverage as a one piece. In fact, probably more coverage than most one pieces do. But this is a middle school event in which I'm attending as a leader, and as a leader, there's just kind of a certain sense of responsibility, and I should probably just play by the rules instead of showing up and being like, hey, I'm Jordan and I like to overthrow authority. Not that most of the kids aren't well aware that I do like to overthrow authority, but that's not the point. So I've spent this week trying to find myself a one-piece swimsuit that follows all the norms and conventions the Christian church likes to have. And you know, shocker, I haven't found one that's very good. I picked up a couple from Target and they fit well on the bottom, but they're a little too big on the top, and so it's possible that if I just like do a little pin or a little stitch situation that it might work, but it's just not an ideal situation and I just don't really feel that great in either one of them. But then of course there's the conundrum of, do I just roll with the Target swimsuit that really doesn't fit me great and I don't feel great in, or do I find a swimsuit that probably does fit me better that's $100 and only wear it once? Neither one of those options sounds very good to me, and it's just put me in this giant headspace that makes it my fault when it's totally not, because the problem is in the church rule that requires a swimsuit that really doesn't work on the vast majority of women. But at the end of the day, it's my body, and my body doesn't fit into the swimsuit that fit me last year, and if I had just changed my diet to XYZ, or if I had exercised more, or if I had done this or I had done that, then that swimsuit would still fit me and I wouldn't be in this position. So basically it's all my fault and I should be ashamed for the body I have now, and so this conversation is twofold. On one hand, it is definitely an issue of a patriarchal culture creating a rule that directly is sexist against women and no one else. And trust me, I am on board with the modesty train. I get it completely. But there it needs to be an understanding that the culture of swimwear design has not aligned itself with the culture of modesty. There are plenty of one-piece swimsuits that have no more coverage than a bikini because the inset is completely cut out or crocheted through the middle so it looks like it's 2 pieces. Like, the idea that a one-piece automatically guarantees modesty is just not true. And, you know, I can prove that with my 2-piece that is more covered than all of the 1-pieces I've ever tried on. So it just is a rule that makes no sense and should be adjusted or abolished. But the second part of this conversation goes to body confidence and how literally like 2 weeks ago, I had all the body confidence in the world, and then one little thing and boom, I'm like an emotional wreck over my body. Yeah, and it's a weird shift in my mindset because I've been pretty proud of how confident in my body I've become over the years, because I definitely wasn't always like that. In fact, my sweet friend Katie Scarlett, who if you don't watch her videos, you totally should, she tagged me in the body image tag like a million years ago, and I need to do that because that's also an important chat that I want to have and have been meaning to have forever. It's been on my list for a while, Katie. So that'll be something maybe in the next month or two that I will get around to posting. But yeah, I really have been good with my body until now. But it's just a little fascinating that something like as simple as a swimsuit can completely change one's total perception of like confidence and worth. What a thing. So I don't really know if I have like a message or a conclusion to this, more so just like a PSA that if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. I guess, this is so stupid. I think it's just more so important to have this conversation, especially when the conversation tends to be so pro body positivity, which I am generally all about. I think it's important to also recognize that body positivity does not mean you don't still struggle with things, or still don't have days where you're like, my body sucks, or swimsuits suck, or, you know, trying on certain things of clothes suck, or realizing that you don't fit into that cute dress that you loved sucks. Like, it sucks sometimes. But overall, I hope that you are having a very body positive day, and I love you all very, very much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.